What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. As always, I'm your co-host, Donovan Quick. Today we're going to be talking about a very special player, one of my favorite players on the entire team. In fact, when he was coming out of college, I was looking to see where he was going to be drafted to, not even thinking that the Dolphins could draft him. And that is wide receiver Erik Ezukanma. Now, a lot of you guys have labeled him as a bust, labeled him as injury prone, and, you know, to this point, you got a point. I can't deny it. He hasn't really produced on the field at all. He barely played his rookie season, his sophomore season, which was last year. He came in and, you know, he looked like he had a decent start, not statistically, but on tape. He had a decent start to the season before that neck injury from college came back and ended his season. And then we come back into this offseason, and throughout OTAs, he's balling, and we're excited once again. And then boom, he gets hit with the injury bug once again and missed the first preseason game, missed pretty much most of training camp so far, but he has returned to practice. And the big thing about that is, and Omar kind of pointed it out, if you follow Omar Kelly on Twitter, he pointed it out. Erik Ezukanma towers over every single receiver that we have. And if you've been following the channel for a little while, especially going back to the draft, you know I was actually an advocate for trying to draft one of Brian Thomas Jr. or Adonai Mitchell, preferably Adonai Mitchell, because I loved their size, their physicality, and their route running ability. And they both still had 4.3 speed. So you take all of that, it kind of fits into our scheme. And we know Tyreek Hill is getting a little bit older, but we also need that bigger bodied receiver. That is something that we've been missing since Mike Gesicki was here. Because even though he was a tight end, he really played in the slot a lot and was that bigger body that we can just throw up something to and tell him to go up and catch it. And with that being said, Erik Ezukanma is that bigger body receiver. He is 6'2", a little over 200 pounds. He has decent hands. It could be a little bit better, could be a little bit worse, you know. He has great speed, really. And his rookie year, it was kind of weird because they had him training in that Tyreek Hill role. So if Tyreek Hill ever gets hurt, he can kind of just step right in and has all of his plays. But then since then, they kind of developed his own role. And he's been, you know, when he's on the field, he's been good. He's been able to get separation. He's been able to show off his playmaking ability, his after catch ability, use his size, use his speed, and he's been pretty damn good. And one of the things that makes him an important asset to this team, and the team needs to make sure that they keep him healthy and keep him on the roster, is not only because of his size, it's because the rest of our depth is not good. The rest of our depth does not really get separation. Currently, we have Waddle banged up. He just returned to practice. Tyreek Hill is 5'8". I'm not throwing a jump ball to Tyreek Hill, even though we've done that in the past. Don't want to do it. Jalen Waddle, 5'10", 5'11". I don't want to throw up a jump ball to him either. Even though he can and has done it, I don't want to do it to those guys, especially since it's more of a physicality thing, and those two aren't the most physical receivers. They're finesse receivers where they get open in space and can do stuff after the catch, can do stuff before the catch. That's their type of route running, type of Washington. I love Malik Washington, but he just did not look good to me route running on Friday. He just did not look good. It's as simple as that. He was not getting separation. He was not getting open. Now, look, it was his first game, but I kind of expect you to be able to get open against second and third stringers, and he just wasn't able to do that. Almost none of the receivers were able to do that. Braylon Sanders, who I've had high hopes for, and he gets open occasionally, he was not able to get open, really. And maybe that's a credit to Atlanta's secondary with their depth and how well they were able to play. But, I mean, when I'm out there and I'm looking and I'm like, as bad as the quarterbacks were with Mike White and Skylar Thompson, they had not help at all. I mean, the only one that was really able to get open at all was McGowan, and then he dropped almost everything that came his way. Like, anything that was thrown his way was just drop. Like, you can't have that. So you want to have a receiver where, when in doubt, you can just throw it up to, and I know we have Jonnu now, and he's, you know, one of those guys that can do that, and he's supposed to help in the red zone. But I mean, we need something, and he's a key player that I think we need to keep an eye on throughout this rest of the preseason. I know a lot of you have him written off as probably not making the roster. Even some reporters around the Dolphins have him not making the roster. But he was a 5th round pick not too long ago. He hasn't really had a chance. He hasn't. He sat the bench his entire rookie year and he was learning. Is what it is. His sophomore year, he gets battered with that neck injury. We don't know what his injury was this offseason. But we know it's significant enough to keep him out for a few weeks. He is back and working now. I'm not sure if he's doing team drills just yet, but hopefully he'll be able to play in one of these preseason games and show us why he deserves to make this roster, because I think not only is he deserving to make this roster, we need him to deserve a spot on this roster, because if he's not able to deserve a spot on this roster, we are screwed when it comes to backup receiver. And I'm already not liking our depth, but we need him to be successful. That's an absolute must. We need Erik Ezukanma to be successful, because if he's successful, this team can take yet another leap. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Do you think it really does not matter if Erik Ezukanma makes the team or not? Do you think it is pivotal to have someone of his size on the team, even if it's as a wide receiver 4, 5, or 6? Do you think that you're comfortable with throwing jump balls to Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle? Let me know in the comments below. Deuces.